Coming up on ATV News, how students are advocating to prevent sexual assault and better support survivors on campus.
And the Tenleytown Escalator, still under construction. All this and more coming up on ATV News.
Welcome to ATV News. I'm Jacob Clark.
And I'm Ellie Knudson. Thanks for joining us.
As sexual assaults rise on campus, more students continue to advocate for change and support for survivors. Barbosa reports.
Between when students arrive on campus and Thanksgiving break is when half of sexual assaults occur on college campuses, according to a study from the Journal of American College Health.
This month with Halloween coming up, we really just want to raise transparency about toolkits and resources that we have on campus.
Harbani Kohli is the Advocacy and Policy Coordinator for No More AU, a national organization dedicated to ending domestic violence and sexual assault. She says that students are frustrated with the administration's handling of sexual assault on campus.
I think a lot of students just want to see Title IX be more proactive. I think there's just a lack of not only being proactive, but a lack of transparency.
Julia Camino, the Secretary of AUSG and the former chair of the Committee on Combating Sexual Violence and Harassment, has been an advocate for survivors since her sophomore year. Camino says she wants to continue to fight for survivors at AU in their position after passing a Survivor Bill of Rights through the Student Government Senate last spring.
Still working on advocating for the administration to enact it. They've received multiple copies, some of them literally handed to them by me into their hands. I handed President Burwell a copy just earlier this semester. Again, we've not heard from them that they're going to implement it.
Despite wanting more action from the university, Camino says ending sexual violence and assault on campus will require a culture shift from students themselves.
It's not just the president, it's not just student government, it's not just the Title IX office, it's not just the survivor-oriented organizations on campus, it's every single person working to support and believe survivors.
For ATV, this is Barbosa.
After 2.5 years of construction, the Tenleytown escalators have closed one entire side of the street. I talked to students to get their feelings. Every day, many AU students take the bus from campus to Tenleytown. Whether you're on a grocery run or trying to get into downtown DC, Tenleytown is a staple of American university life. That's why students have noticed that a construction project seems to be taking a long time.
The Tenleytown escalator has been down since I got here. I remember freshman year it was open to walk down, but it wasn't actually moving. It was
The Tenleytown AU Metro escalator has been under construction for 2.5 years now. The entrance closest to the American University shuttle was recently shut down completely, and students are not optimistic about WMATA's progress.
But there weren't steps on it at a certain point, so it looked like a lot needed to be done.
Yeah. Just kind of accepted that it's just going to be perpetually under construction.
According to the WMATA website, the Tenleytown escalator was closed as part of an initiative to refurbish 517 of the escalators across DC metro stations by 2028. The Tenleytown escalator on the east side of Wisconsin Avenue was closed fully to accelerate this process.
It's inconvenient, but it's not super inconvenient. It's okay for me to walk across the street, but I think that it's not the best for a lot of people.
As of now, the expected completion date for the escalator is late December of 2023. Ellie Knudson, ATV News.
AU's Department of the Performing Arts have their first of 3 main stage performances coming up this weekend. Their only musical this semester, Head Over Heels, is currently finishing up their performances. ATV News reporter Grace Harman has the story.
Head Over Heels, conceived by James McGrudger and Jeff Whitty, is the AU Department of Performing Arts' newest production. The plot follows a royal court as they embark on a journey to save their kingdom's beat. Director Carl Menninger says he was looking for a lighter show to contrast last fall's production.
I like to find the humor in Head Over Heels by being silly and approaching things from a really playful perspective.
Adapted from the Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia, the show's script is early modern English, but the soundtrack is the pure pop rock music of the Go-Go's.
It's definitely a big switch. Shakespearean heightened language, and then you cut to 80s pop rock.
Head Over Heels is a jukebox musical where songs of a certain era or artist are integrated into the plot instead of original music. This was choreographer Kate Ginsburg's first time on a jukebox musical and says it came with its own unique set of challenges.
Yeah. Every song is such a blast and it's like such a bop and you want to really intensely choreograph every single one of those songs, but then you have to remind yourself of, oh, there's 20 of them in the show, but your actors are also singing and doing this crazy dancing, and they have to do it 15 times in 2 hours.
Menninger says that while some people may be apprehensive about a jukebox musical, AU students should take a chance on this production.
I'm not a huge fan of jukebox musicals, but this one makes a lot of sense. The songs fit into the plot really pretty darn well.
For ATV News, I'm Grace Harman.
The Department of Performing Arts will open their second main stage performance, Daughters of Leda, on November 1st at 8 p.m. and will run for 4 nights in the Knudson Center Arts Studio Theater. The play takes the audience down to the underworld through the story of a mortal girl trying to understand her fate. Co-directors Shannara Gabrielle and Angelisa Gillard have been working with the cast and crew for 7 weeks and say they are extremely proud of how far everyone has come. Following Daughters of Leda, the Department of Performing Arts will have their last show of the semester, Damn Things Will Kill Ya, an original play written by AU alumni Olivia Luzquinos. This final play will open on December 5th in the Knudson Studio Theater. Tickets for all 3 shows are still available on the AU Arts Tickets website and are free for AU students.
Another AU student performance is coming up this semester, the biannual AU in Motion Showcase. ATV's Jade Desmaret talks with the dancers about their show.
Think of like a crescent moon when you're making it. So 5.
AU in Motion is American University's largest student-run dance organization. This semester, 200 active dancers are involved in the club working for the fall final showcase.
So I came from a competitive studio the past few years, and going into college, I really wanted to continue dancing, but in a less rigid and constricting environment, and so AU Motion seemed like the right place to be.
Every semester, students create dance pieces across all styles, from ballet to hip-hop and heels to vogue.
Doing styles like tap and jazz that I've been doing since I was 3, like always I was going to do that. Then I wanted to branch out into other more difficult jazz pieces or a vogue piece, which I've never done, and do more contemporary work. So it's a whole mix and I love it.
Brendan Kennard choreographed his first piece last year for AU in Motion. Now, he's the choreographer for the Vogue piece, a dance based on model poses titled The Renaissance.
Okay, that's fast. So the actual tempo. Inclusivity is one of our biggest things. Accessibility as well. If you have a physical or mental disability, we want you to dance with us. We'll always make accommodations for you, no matter where you come from.
Auditions will be held early on spring semester to recruit new dancers. I'm Jade Desmaret for ATV News.
The House has elected a new speaker after 3 weeks of debate.
What students think of the historic vacancy and more after the break.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart, and so they need you to stand with them.
Welcome back to ATV. The House was without a speaker for 3 weeks, the longest vacancy in American history. ATV News reporter Ashley Totten talked to students to hear what they think about this historic moment.
After averting the government shutdown, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted by representatives of the Conservative Freedom Caucus, led by Representative Matt Gaetz. Multiple representatives ran for Speaker, including Representatives Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, and others, but none of them were able to secure enough votes. Without a Speaker, all normal House activities came to a halt. This vacancy prevented the House from reviewing aid packages to Israel and Ukraine, passing a budget to avoid a government shutdown, or bringing any bills to the floor. Tyler Brown-Dewey, the president of AU Democrats, says this situation is damaging America's reputation.
I think a majority of them would say, this is making America look very bad, especially specifically the American government. Let me say that, and trust for the government is going to dwindle down even more.
Vice President of AU College Republicans, Johnny Sunny, comments on how this process is affecting the Republican Party.
I like to consider myself more of a moderate and an optimist. So for me, I think, ultimately what it's going to lead to is more cooperation between Democrats and Republicans.
On Wednesday, the House elected Representative Mike Johnson as Speaker. Johnson is described by the Associated Press as a supporter of former President Trump and a, quote, staunch conservative. Now the House is back in session after an unprecedented few weeks. Ashley Totten, ATV News.
Israel and Palestine have been in conflict for over 75 years, and the conflict escalated in Gaza over the past few weeks. In this time of crisis, students are disappointed with the school's reaction and have come together to support one another. ATV's Lindsay Morin reports.
Some American university students say they feel unsafe on their campus after events in Israel and Palestine over the past 2 weeks. Both Jewish and Israeli organizations have hosted peaceful events along with community information and bonding sessions to come together to try to cope. AU sophomore Noam Emerson Fleming says the Jewish community felt targeted during a peaceful rally hosted by the Students Supporting Israel organization.
It was really just to show the community, hey, there's a place for you here, there's people who are there to support you. And unfortunately, a very, very small contingent of people came and said some pretty nasty stuff. There's a level of cruelty that you don't see very often.
The criticism didn't just come from protesters on the AU Quad. Some students say an email from AU's president Sylvia Burwell didn't go far enough to condemn the violence. AU master's student Kathy Nims says she is upset with the administration's reaction to the events in Israel and Gaza.
I feel like there's a lot of behind-the-scenes tamping down on protests due to the fact that this is a private university and the university can simply remove whatever they want.
The students say they are passionate for change, but they say that's hard to do on the AU campus.
I think there's a lot of fear of speaking up because I think there's certain social pressures, especially at this university, that prevent them from doing that.
In the meantime, multiple clubs and organizations on campus say they plan to stay close and hope for change soon.
It's horrible and we're all hurting, but at the very least we're together.
Lindsay Morin, ATV News.
This month, the AU chapter of Sister Sister hosted a karaoke night on the Bridge Cafe on campus. Sister Sister aims to create a space of empowerment for Black women on campus, allowing them to build a community and networking opportunities. In addition to hosting a karaoke night, the club collaborated with the Bridge to create a pink hot chocolate to raise money for Girls Rock DC, a youth organization that gives young girls of color a space to play music and advocate within their communities. The drink was available last week, but Sister Sister's treasurer, Dania Harris, hopes to have more events at AU to support the Black female community.
We hope to produce more events and then just, create a safe space for Black women across the campus. All are welcome, but yeah, we definitely just really hope to produce more events, get ourselves out there, and just make people engage and have fun.
It's the end of an era at the Smithsonian's National Zoo. Every year, more than 2 million people visit the zoo, and giant pandas have been a popular attraction since 1972. The first pandas came to Washington, D.C. as a gift from the Chinese government, but the zoo's agreement with the China Wildlife Conservation Association ends in mid-November. That means Mei Xiang and Tian Tian, the zoo's adult panda pair, will be leaving along with their cub, Xiao Jiji. AU students like Ava Bailey make the trip to the zoo to see the pandas before they head back to China.
It's just cool that we get to see them before they leave because it's an opportunity that a lot of people won't be able to have. So I kind of feel lucky that we get to see them before they leave.
The School of Communications is preparing a foreign language class for the spring 2024 semester. The class is Backpack in Documentary en Español and has been offered at least twice before, according to Bill Gentile, who teaches the class. He will teach students how to produce documentaries on the go. The class emphasizes the transformation in visual storytelling through advancing technology, like handheld cameras. Gentile says the lectures, interviews, and reporting will be in Spanish.
If our students can go out there and work on their language and work on their stories in their, in the Spanish language, it's going to help them connect and really, I'll use the same term, get under the skin of the place. Without that language ability, it's just really hard to do.
Students must be highly proficient in Spanish to take the class, according to Gentile. The class is combined with the section for the Colloquium on Latin America class. Gentile says at least 17 people need to join the class or else it will not be held next semester. Right now, there are 8 open spots to join the class.
Many AU students go abroad every semester to all parts of the globe. Julianne Sheehan reports from Italy about Americans' programs abroad and how students feel about being so far from campus.
This semester, some Eagles have flown the nest and embarked on journeys across the world. Kendall Thompson is currently spending her entire junior year at the London School of Economics.
I've been enjoying my study abroad experience a lot. It's definitely been different, kind of getting used to different customs in a different city, but overall it's been a really good experience.
Students say the study abroad experience is unlike any other. From immersing yourself in a new culture to navigating weekend travel and making friends, students have found there can be numerous uncertainties that come along with studying abroad. AU senior Kate Hull, who's currently studying abroad at John Cabot University in Rome, says it's enriching to step into a new way of life.
I would say that the most exciting thing has just been meeting new people from all over the world and kind of discovering the subtle, weird, fun ways that American culture kind of differs from all the other cultures, because there's a lot of similarities, but I think that the differences are especially interesting.
Other than connecting students to individuals from across the globe, studying abroad has brought some Eagles closer to one another. Caroline Atherton has been in London for 5 weeks and says she's met plenty of fellow AU students.
I have randomly been able to connect with a lot of AU people, which is super awesome. It's very silly to meet people, ask them where they're from, and they actually go to your same school.
Studying abroad can be a nerve-wracking thing, but students like Atherton urge AU students to step outside of their comfort zone.
It is scary, it is daunting, but it's such an awesome experience where you get to learn all about yourself as well as other people in the world, and that's really valuable and really important. So just do it. You'll have so much fun.
Reporting from Rome, Julianne Sheehan, ATV News foreign correspondent.
So cool to hear about students being abroad. That's all for today. I'm Ellie Knudson.
And I'm Jacob Clark. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you in December for the last broadcast of our semester.